What's up everyone, my name is Tim and I'm the project lead at Focus Lab Studios. Today I'm going to introduce you to a project that we've been working on for a bit over a year now, but it's something that's been kind of rambling around inside our heads for the past 3 or 4 years by now. But before I dive deeper into it, let me just show you our game, Far North. So Far North is a procedurally generated open world survival game. That's a mouthful. But one of the really interesting mechanics we're introducing to the game is the dynamically changing seasons. And what we're aiming with these seasons is really to have a nice way to change gameplay. For example, during summer, you will have the midnight sun, which keeps everything bright even when it's, in the middle of the night. But also everything is much easier, it's warm, wildlife is more available, things like that. But when winter hits, suddenly it's all about maintaining your temperature, not getting too cold. Wildlife is more scarce. All these kinds of things, it's not as easy to grow things. And we think that this gameplay is really interesting and we want to experiment with it and make something unique. But the dynamically changing seasons is just one aspect of Far North. The game features a lot of different core mechanics that kind of tie into each other, which makes this nice experience. One of them is, of course, surviving. That's the core of it. But another big one is building. Building is really the original purpose of the game. Really, it's all about building a homestead, and you can do this wherever you want, and you can build a lot of different homesteads, but it still centers really about the aspect of going out in the woods with friends, because the game features multiplayer and co-op. But it's all about going into the woods and building your own homestead and expanding it as you explore deeper into the forest, finding new resources, finding new things that you can bring back and really evolve your home. And it's not really a home until you start cooking, right? And that's something the game features as well. You can take different ingredients that you find and you can actually cook them together and make different kinds of meals from them. And it's not a survival game if you don't survive, and one of the ways you need to survive is, of course, to actually find food. You can find food in different ways. You can either find berries and other vegetables and fruits and stuff in the wild, or you can hunt. You can hunt rabbits, you can hunt deer, and you can also make sure to avoid different dangerous animals such as wolves or bears. But really, the game won't force you to play a specific style. Like you don't need to hunt animals at all unless you want to, but it's probably going to get harder. Another option to this, to finding food, is actually growing your own food. And that's where the farming comes in. You can find seeds from various resources that you find, and you can actually plant them and make sure that they grow on their own. Find the right soil, make the right conditions, and it will grow. And you'll need to do these things in order to survive winter, because it's going to get rough, it's going to get cold, it's going to get dark. So the way you build things is by finding resources, either on their own or, for example, cutting down a tree and clearing the leaves and clearing the branches in order to cut up logs. And either you can use these logs as building materials, or you can chop them up into firewood. But all of it depends on your skill as well, because your character will have a lot of different skills, and as you perform these tasks, you're going to increase your skill over time. Another charming thing with the skills is how it unlocks for different ways to play, especially if it's multiplayer, because That way you can perhaps focus on different skills for your characters in your party. Maybe someone is the cook who is better at actually cooking food together, which in turn makes the meals contain more calories. Another player could be the bronze of the game, who has a lot of strength and maybe is good at wood cutting. This would allow the player to cut down trees really fast. Another player could be the builder, who can build more structures for a lower resource cost because of the player's high skill level. Another interesting thing is how we want to tackle the actual survival systems when it comes to health and eating and drinking in order to survive. Usually what we find is that most other survival games have this crazy game mechanic where if you don't eat or drink, like within 5 minutes, you're gonna die. And we feel this mechanic is really punishing and not fun at all, not to mention completely unrealistic. So what we want to do instead of punishing the player that heavily is that we want to reward them for actually maintaining their hunger and thirst and rest. And we want to do this by giving the player different buffs depending on what they've cooked. And this way the player is going to be motivated to maintain their different stats instead of just feeling it's such a drag, because this way they're going to be feeling, if I didn't maintain it, I'm not optimizing my gameplay. But of course, if you go too long without maintaining your stats, such as eating or drinking or resting, it's gonna eventually start chipping at your health. But this is maybe after 2, 3, 4 days, you know. We'll need to calibrate this and feel it out with the community. And that kind of brings me to the last point I wanna talk about in this introductory devlog. We really focus on community. We're building a community right now on Discord, we're streaming on Twitch, and really what we're shooting for is as much transparency as possible during the entire development. We want to, as often as possible, ask our community for feedback. We want to get it in the hands of the community by doing a bunch of tests and asking them how they feel about certain mechanics, what they feel the game should have, what they feel is missing, and all these kinds of things. And on that note, don't forget to follow us here on YouTube. The reason we're making devlogs is actually because the community has asked for it for months at this point. The game is also available for wishlisting on Steam. The link is going to be in the description, so please, if you think this is interesting, go and wishlist the game, because that helps us a lot with the metrics and making the game more visible thanks to how the Steam algorithm works. Another way to be part of the community and contribute to the game is by joining our Discord server. And finally, we stream every weekday on Twitch at 6:15 AM to around 8 AM CEST. And I know that it's really early, but that's how we're making things fly. We're doing this in our spare time. Right now we're shooting to get full funding from a publisher by the end of the year, but we'll see. But really, this is just a lot of blood, sweat and tears. We're getting up at 5:30 every single morning in order to make this happen. We hope that you want to be part of this journey with us, because we're really excited to be sharing this journey with you. And on that note, I wish you a great evening or day wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.